going. We can keep talking, and then for a second I will just say, "Hey, hi, this is me again," and we can start talking normally. And if you want to follow what it said, because there's background, you can with the phone you can enter into Twitch.
Like this nation, this
or just go to my if you want to see.
so on, as they can't meet, and it's extremely hard to break into that. Now, the second, but that comes about primarily because thought.
So basically, is in my profile of Instagram, there's the link directly.
The way things are. Therefore, people cannot see that they're creating a problem and then apparently trying to solve it.
And there you can see what is appearing actually. So if we talk, if you give me a reference, I will look for it. I will. The Odyssey. I put that planet because you put the reference of the Odyssey.
Because we are thinking in a certain way by breaking everything up and each person's doing his own thing, right? Now, therefore, the ecological problem is due to thought, right? But thought thinks it is a problem out there.
You know that this is basically what kids of 12 years old use. Like, I'm above the curve.
Doing the things which are making the ecological problem or the national problem or whatever the problem is.
You know, I tried to measure a little shore over around 200 times, and I never reached to measure the reality of the coastline. In fact, I reached only the understanding that what I was actually measuring was defining myself more than actually what I was trying to define, that it was defining more the tools that I was using than the coastline that I was trying to encapsulate.
So the first thing...
Hello again. Hello, Bili.
Hello.
How are you?
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
How are you?
I'm good. It's raining since a week here, so that is actually quite nice. It was very dry, so I always have this dichotomy when it rains. Like, oh, I like it because it's nice that it rains, and then I'm like, oh, I don't like to be in the rain again, like in Holland. But but we can never be happy fully. So just to introduce you a bit, Bili, to everybody or nobody that is there, who knows. Bili is a design researcher and a design tutor. She is a design expert on methodologically and accompanies innovation teams in local authorities. She defines herself as a design researcher, and we met quite long ago also, actually. And it was also in the same context as other people that was part of these talks, that was in the Design Academy Eindhoven situation context. Although we never really engaged that much in there, apart from probably some parties.
It's a lot. Parties are a lot of what you do as a student.
Indeed. So I will not enter to what we just talked about design research, but I will ask you first, since we met then and you studied, which bachelor did you study, Bili?
I was studying in the bachelor at Men and Wellbeing.
Exactly. Since you studied at Men and Wellbeing when we met till now, do you remember how did you experience design or creativity, and do you remember?
Don't really remember. I tell myself a story of what I remember.
And what's that story? I'd love to hear it.
I mean, well, when I maybe before graduation, I used to touch a lot of materials. Like in well-being, I used to work with a lot of natural materials, with ceramics, with wood, with textiles, and all of sorts of very crafty projects. And then for my graduation, I asked myself like a bigger question: what will happen with the elderly in 50 years from now? And then I started to engage with like non-materials, like with kind of texts and I mean, I was meeting a lot of scientists and people that can maybe tell me what will happen to my generation as elderly. And then I started to build this speculative scenario. I mean, of this person. I call her Tzila, and she is actually me in 50 years. And
I
I
would love
created
to
it
see
all.
her.
she's she's very funny. I made a gif. She moves really like wow. She loves life, and she's actually really she's kind of a mixture of let's say me and my mother. And also my mother was starring her character in the film I created for my graduation. It was 2014, so I'm really mumbling about this moment, but it was, I think, a very interesting moment of me acknowledging what I'm gonna do in the world after school, after partying. And so graduation and everything, and this speculative scenario, and this service research, I discovered that I'm doing actually service design when I graduated. And then that's where I wanted to go after graduation. I said, okay, service design, strategy design, maybe UX. So I tried to understand what does it mean, and see how I can like, let's say, be a function in some kind of a system that thinks big and do speculative and research. And I love the idea of doing that for other big companies. And so didn't manage to get into the companies I wanted to get at the beginning. And I'm really happy it happened.
No, but it's always
And,
how it happens, huh? I mean,
yes, I think I wasn't convinced. So I wasn't convincing as well, because the material that I had, like the portfolio and all the written stuff, was, I think, very interesting. So people wanted to meet me. And when I presented myself, I just wasn't, I wasn't super engaged. Really happy it happened. That's
did you
so.
work towards it in the, or it just came across afterwards?
So afterwards, I worked in Italy as a UX
Yeah, I remember.
researcher. It was a strange period, and I worked. It was a research company of Telecom Italia, and
Wow.
it was a horrible work experience, but a beautiful surrounding, and I had a blast, really. But professionally, I didn't. I also understood that UX is very boring. I mean, I was such a middle function in this mega company, like playing with buttons, and I just didn't understand why am I doing that. Um, but I also said to myself, maybe if I could make a living out of it and doing other stuff, then maybe it's okay. But then I came back to Israel because I fell in love with this guy on the street, and um, then I started to. I was still in this search: what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna be. Actually, I want to be a service designer, which is maybe the next level of UX, because UX is this digital world, and while a service designer touches the real world. That's the story I told myself. And I started to work as a freelancer,
Okay.
as a service designer freelancer, and I really learned the profession really quickly. And I was working a lot with banks in the beginning, and all these mega companies, but always telling this story that I'm coming, even with the banks, with the with the capitalistic pigs. I used to say the story, at least they take me to tell them what the customers actually need. I, they, I can and I designed much better services for all these clients. But while I was interviewing these clients, I was talking to people that are taking loans after loans after loans and talking to me for 3-4 hours just to have this person hearing them how their life are doing. And then I said, that's it, I'm not working with banks anymore. So
So let's take out banks, insurances. Let's take all the big.
Yes. I mean, in this industry, I tried to create this thick red line.
Yeah.
It was okay. It helped me to stay in this industry for a while, but I was missing materials again. And there is something about this process of design thinking, of this structure as a service designer. There are too many boundaries. Like, it's too structured, and it's a really good method, and you can do many things with that. Also, any designer needs boundaries. I do believe so. But something about repetitively doing all of these projects for other companies just took my spirit away, and I missed, so I missed the materials, and then I started to on the side do ceramics and all along
coming back to it.
To uncertainty. That's why I discovered lately that I really need uncertainty in my work. I need boundaries, so uncertainty, and boundaries and uncertainty, and it's, I think, something that I discovered that I need it everywhere, like in any action I do.
It's quite funny, because you had a similar path that I did also in that sense. And I also needed this materialization of life. But when you presented yourself, and let's go back to it, you say that you are a design researcher. And now you say service design. So what are all these words really? What are all these words?
All along this well, I have a dual life. There is the day job that I need because I need to live somewhere, and I need to sustain my quite expensive lifestyle. Although I don't go out, I don't do so many things. I don't consume so much. I mean, I really don't. But somehow everything is so expensive, and I have a kid and whatever, and I have a lot of animals in the house, so I need to sustain it, and so I'm kind of doing this stuff to sustain my life as a researcher and as a person. As a researcher, I'm all along the line. I'm doing all sorts of speculative projects. I work a lot with Aya Bentour, that I think you had a conversation with her.
You just did
2 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah, you just did the exhibition in the couscous, no?
Yes, we just presented a wonderful project. I think
Explain it,
we fell in
explain
love
it.
with it.
I love it. I think it's very nice because that shows the other side of Bili also.
Yes, it's well, it's an archive of people making couscous. Basically, we filmed all sorts of people with different skill levels of couscous making. We filmed them from 3 positions, and then we build a platform that keeps the videos, and also analyze the gestures of making couscous, like the skeleton, the physical, like the major body gesture, and where the movement actually come from, the hand gestures, their
Rhythm.
The rhythm also, yes, how they move, but actually it analyzes their anus, like their ass, and and make like a rhythm out of their bottoms, and also their state of mind. We wanted to check what is worth keeping in an archive. I mean, I know that food is culture, and it's something that is very much it's very much something that we want to preserve over the years. But the wisdom of making it is something that is now going to machines. Like machines knows today how to make couscous. Me as an Ashkenazi, not like Moroccan. I'm in my family origin. I didn't taste couscous from my family. I tasted
Okay.
from the
Around.
culture around me. So nowadays, when I go to the supermarket, I can buy this package of couscous that I just add water and mix it, and then I have couscous. But the taste is so different. And so the wisdom of making like it's the machine and the like in the factory makes it for me. And me, if I didn't taste the real couscous, it doesn't really matter. You know what? In also believe that in 50 years, if people will and couscous will disappear, like the people who make couscous, they will disappear from the world, then even our taste senses, it will change, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So I believe that the food itself doesn't really matter, but because the wisdom go to machines, we forget how to move, and we have so much spare time. But what the fuck are people gonna do with so much spare time? I mean,
I wonder the same sometimes. It's like
it's horrible. I don't want to let people so much spare time. People forget to move. People forget how to think because I mean AI can do it for me anyway. So whatever. So I'm really scared of the latest technology developments, and I think this is one of the major motivations of this project is to talk about now, about the sense of making and what is important and what is actually worth keeping.
it's very nice.
Because an archive is something that I mean, it's a vault. It's something that is there to keep. And yeah,
And why did you do this project? Like how this project came to being?
it came into being because me and Aya are working for a long time about analyzing gestures and working with gestures related to, let's say, feelings. Actually, if I talk to my husband, which is like a performer, if I talk to him about gestures, he talks about a gesture is a movement with an intention. So we talk about gestures in the same way. The intention of why I move is, and it's sometimes a physical intention to have like to reach something as a function, intention, communication towards an object, and communication towards an idea. So from that, one of the curators of the so we had the idea, sorry. We had the idea to create an archive of craft. We wanted to go and film all sorts of like handcraft and preserve the knowledge from the same idea, and then this exhibition was the curator, the two curators of this food exhibition. Uh, they talked to us to take our idea of this craft archive into food. So we said, That was my immediate reaction was, but food is not important.
Oh, you had a discussion there with Aya.
No, food is um, it's it's luxury, and well, food is not luxury, but food is how we consume it and how we meet it every day is a luxury. And it was very hard for me to put these two worlds together, but then suddenly it clicked. I don't know what happened, but I understood how is it valuable. And I think what was more interesting is that from how we started and now when the project ended, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
And I'm in love with the I mean with the theory at least, and we discovered so many nuances in this project. It became a documentary, and we met these people that actually are talking about really like we suddenly discovered like different generations of people making couscous, or the grandparents um, who still know really the craft from there. They were born in Morocco. I mean, I'm talking in the context of Israel, of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
And then there is the second generation who came to Israel and wanted to forget Moroccan culture because they wanted to be Israeli now. Everyone are Israeli now. We are so Israeli, and I don't want to be Moroccan. Moroccan is like,
Yeah,
you know, um, then there is the third generation. The third generation is wanting to gain an identity again. They said, "What the fuck? I have like missing holes in my history that I cannot even ask my grandmother now how did she make it. I just remember the smell. I just remember her fat hands. I like they complete the information from the pictures and from YouTube, and I think it's very nice. And then what happened during the project is that we saw that our archive doesn't really help you to make couscous.
yeah. That's what I was
It's
saying in
it's
the video of the website. It's like, okay, I'm not going to be able to do anything with this. I mean, I just see it's a beautiful website, I have to say, and the way it's like presented is beautiful, like the way the information is crafted. But it's like, but it's still, I don't. I mean, I don't know how to make
it's not a tutorial. No,
couscous.
it's not a tutorial because the tutorial is not really needed. I mean, it's
Yeah,
there. You can search YouTube. You can. It's a
of course, of course.
very easy process, and I think what I understood is like it got it more stronger that the process doesn't really matter. You can do it. Everyone does it a bit different. You just need to put yourself into it, and you need to want to do it. um,
I think that
anyway.
it does give a because I was playing now with it. I'm just sorry. I was playing with the state of mind. Let's put it here and let's see how we actually and it.
Have to move the timeline of the video because it's really reactive. It's not like YouTube. It doesn't
Oh,
like load, so you can like blip, blip, blip. It's very fun.
interesting. So basically, when you engage the project of 2 years with an institution that is a museum, that they are two curators that they sort of trust in you and your work, I guess. No, I mean that's how it works. You already did projects that have similarities to this, like the unfearing one, for example, or your apathy movement.
Yes.
I mean, at the end, there's like a kind of a trajectory that supports, How is it working with for 2 years with a museum or an institution like that?
I
In your case, I mean, of course, not on, let's not
I
generalize.
I I think I have some blind spots, but I'm collecting some empathy. I think they were really scared. I mean, although both of the curators are good friends, and we used to meet almost like weekly, monthly. Like we all live in kind of the same neighborhood, and and we had like seldom meetings to talk about work, about the process, because it was kind of a group of a few, like we were five couples of designers that
Okay.
we were funded by like a different institution, the PICE institution, the lottery
Okay.
fund for the museum. And I think our project was the least clear from the group.
That sounds
And
familiar.
and and also we had like all this like uncertainty in the process because we had like medical issues in between, we had babies in between. I mean, things happened, and we actually finalized the project like visually completely only in the past, I don't know, 3 months. So they only had to trust us, and I think it was very, very scary for them, but they did. I feel like completely that we were completely trusted in the process, and I think we were the least of the problems for this exhibition. It was a huge exhibition and many, many, many problems, and yeah, I think we surprised even ourselves.
I think it's a very nice result. I mean, so I'm sure that you have to be happy for it.
Yes, and you know what? Also, it's truly, truly like a design research project.
Yeah.
Like a project that you discover the answers in the end, near the end, and when you like design a product, it's different. You need to know the answers much before, and there is something boring in it. That's what I like in thinking about products. I like to solve the problem, and when I have it, I don't care. Do whatever you want.
I have the same situation in that.
Then I will critique the like, oh, but I chose that material. How come? I mean, but whatever. I don't have my like. I'm not invested in it as much,
Yeah.
and I think this is related to this sense of uncertainty, which is just wonderful.
No, because one of the questions that I sent you before was about what was your best moment or state or whatsoever for creativity, and then you said this, no, like this. Oh, you said a word that I like it quite a lot, which is the grounded. So you need to be grounded, but with a pinch of uncertainty. And I think that it's very useful, this grounding, but still not be completely sure of what's going to happen, because otherwise you get bored. That's how I understand it, and that's what happens to me at the same time.
Yeah,
But what is creativity
definitely.
for you, really? Because that's a different question. Because you need to be grounded and with a bit of uncertainty for what?
What do you mean for what is creativity? I think the creativity is the um, ability. Well, I see it in two directions. Okay, I see one that creativity is about zooming in and zooming out. Um, as a movement, like you're moving in, you're moving out to see if it's what else you can connect to it. And this takes me to the other thing is that I'm not sure it's an ability or a skill. I mean, maybe you can. I mean,
You're learning.
it's both. It's both. You have to. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm trying to define. I mean, there's many definitions. I'm not sure if I agree of any, but I do agree that you need to, that there's this point on connecting things that it's very relevant in
Yes.
creativity, and the ability to connect them in zooming in and zooming out. I think that makes like the different scales of a project, but also like especially when you talk about service or you talk about social innovation design whatsoever. I think it works like that, at least in my mind.
It's like I feel that there is also a process of like brute force. You know, a brute
Yes.
force. It's like you run out all sorts of. I mean, I imagine my brain like okay, I have this and this and flowers and pigeons and blah blah blah. Yes, it works. Interesting. Um,
No, it's really like that. Or at least, I mean, yeah, that's the feeling that it has to us. Definitely. But you were talking about so you work with different kind of institutions. You work with institutions that you want to work again. In all of these design positions whatsoever, you used creativity, or it became like a sort of like a routinary step by step. I have a critique to service design in general, and also into design thinking on this repetition of methodologies that actually makes us be bureaucrats rather than creatives. But maybe you have a different opinion.
It's difficult. I'm somewhere in between. I can tell you that first I keep doing it because somehow I manage to find little moments of creativity. I call them little secrets. I have during my day or during the
Secrets
project
or
little
secrets?
secrets,
Secret.
like little moments that makes me smile, and no one else maybe doesn't. No, I'm not sure that anyone understand or see it like I do. But this little mechanics still keeps me to it. Um, I still like my red line is not reaching there because I still have these moments, and it's I think a major test I do. I think daily.
No, sure.
If I want to stay and maybe stay relevant to myself and true to myself. So so half. Yeah, yes. The problem is that when I do well, I'm not doing a service design project anymore. So I let's say I'm not going to answer that in this way. Now what I do is I'm doing an in between job. Like I'm working with local authorities, but for like a long year projects. So it's a big project with, let's say, one city hall, one like local authority, and with a local team. So the team is constructed from all sorts of people from the authority. Like they
Mhm.
different positions in this institution, yes, and their daily job is usually very boring or very narrow, and we meet together once a week and we work on this major project. So they're really not used to think like that,
So you work
to
on a
work.
strategy, almost like a year strategy long, or
It's in between a strategy and a like let's say a challenge, like a
yeah.
city challenge. Yeah. And so because I teach them as also solving the project with them, um, I do it very structured. So it's almost I will have no surprise in it because they need to learn.
Yeah.
If I want them to learn, I minimize the uncertainties because it's already for them completely
Yeah, it's
uncertain.
completely difficult.
So for me, the process is very, very clear, and I don't find interest in it. What um, I think what is interesting is their surprise. When I see the surprise on their in their faces, um, I very much like it. I really hate the fact that there are so many politics within their job, and that's like our process almost covered with like coffee. Yeah, thank you that, and thank you that, and thank you all
Uh,
those people that helps us all the time. But like, fortunately, I'm not the one who's doing it because there is a project manager that is doing all of that. Uh, so I'm only kind of consulting. And what can I say? I think when a designer do this process, he could be much more successful. It's very hard for them. They need to kind of jump many barriers to really be in this moment of complete understanding of using what people say as material, and to analyze it like with full focus on that. It's really a skill that you gain. I believe that anyone that can do this that can do this process, maybe after 5 projects like that, he can be fluent in it. But for them, not. Sometimes I need to. There is a problem. Someone is not understanding that, or there is a problem with the city hall, or I love these moments because then I can say, okay.
I know that you were going to say that.
I said, you know what? Forget it. It doesn't really matter. Let's do something else. And well, I'm trying not to do that so much because still there is something about seeing
you need,
that.
you need to follow it. Yeah.
The moments that I need to react, I love them, and I think there makes it makes a real difference.
No, but I'm sure that it makes a difference for you, but also for them, because then they understand the flexibility of what you're trying to teach them. You know, in a sense, or at least that's what should actually also that creativity is also about being flexible on how to do things.
Yes, but I think it gives them more the sense that they're not able to do it and they need to. I mean, sometimes.
Yeah, but then it positions you as the valuable consultant that is there to help.
So, yes, or they can, after the program ends, they know that they need to pay to someone to do that job. But also sometimes you see one that her, usually it's her eyes opens and she understands, and this is very nice.
I think that and correct me if I'm wrong, that to me it sounds more like that you enjoy the social aspect of it, of being like that person rather, and not rather, because probably you enjoy also the other part of the process, but is that the social aspect of design that you like in general? Yeah, beyond this, of course.
Well, I do like this. So I think the what I said before, the zoom in, zoom out, is the zoom out is the social aspect.
Okay.
I think that is the problem. Like all this duality of being someone who makes a value, like as a design researcher, I make a value, but it's I communicate with with people like you when I work as a service designer or as a design tutor. I touch people now. I really touch people now. But the problem is that the problem with any kind of human institution as I ever met is that we don't consider the zoom out enough because we're bounded to the economical system.
Yeah,
so
and the operational of like these huge institutions. Yeah, I saw him.
The problem is that we cannot any kind of human or a group of humans is not able to consider the natural network, and the only thing I hope with, for instance, AI, okay, which is, I think it's a very scary period, and I'm really afraid because people with a lot of money and force are managing it. The only thing the only good thing that can come out of this is that we can use computers to think in that way, to think real socially or real in sense of harmony.
Yeah, I think that we can do it. I think that it's very difficult for us as humans is the capability of thinking about doing that while dealing with the small case and the specifics and the organizational and the money of the personal and the ethics and then the moral. And it's like, oh please, I'm just a designer. I'm not superhero. But I think it's nice. I mean, I think that at least to understand that design reaches these points where there's things that you, as designers or as humans, we cannot control, things that we cannot understand. It's better than in the 90s. I mean, like that they thought that they could do anything. I mean, It's a position of
Yeah.
no. I mean, it's like when was it in Design Academy? No, it was this year of graduation that they said what design can no design. Not
Designer is a superhero. I mean,
yeah,
the 90s
yeah.
designer is a superhero, and maybe that's the reason I went studying design in the end. I'm not sure, but not even sure anymore. But I mean, that was the notion that no one is a superhero. We
Yeah.
are stupid humans, and we're basically a group of cultured monkeys, or
Oh, I like that.
really that's that's what we are. I mean, when I
Yeah,
sit
yeah, definitely.
around in the car and I see people sitting in a cafe, more in Jerusalem. I don't know why. Jerusalem, when I enter Jerusalem, I have like this and then I see everyone as monkeys, like monkeys drinking coffee, monkeys walking with a kid on the street.
Oh, we have to do
And
a little movie about that. Okay. No, but I think that we are. And in that way, would you consider that design research or doing archives and communicating them and doing exhibitions that are this kind of like making people think rather than showing them objects, let's say, or showing them a tutorial of making couscous whatsoever? Is that an option that we can do? Or you don't see it like that? Because that's how I see it, what you just did. Or that's how I put together what you just did, basically.
I think it's an option, but it's not touching the point.
Okay.
You know, now in Israel there is a major
Yeah.
resistance against the government, and when I'm going to the demonstration, not as a designer, just
No, as a human
as a
being.
person, I'm touching the point. Like
Okay.
I'm at this moment, and there is something about doing this project, this research project, that it's what I want to do. Yes, I don't want to. I'm not a superhero. I'm not gonna save the world, I just want to talk about it with smart people, and maybe someone will call me to think with them together about how we can save the world, and develop this super AI that is only working to help us connect um, all the systems together to something that predict what we actually do, and what is yeah.
But when you say, okay, so you wanted to be a superhero, you became a design researcher, but maybe you wanted to become a superhero. I wanted to do something that was for the good. That's why I went to social design, to be honest. I mean, superhero is a very big word. Let's put it differently. Um, how is the context of what you're around in relation to that? Does the context helps for design research to improve certain kind of aspects, even if it's small and a posteriori of what happens? Or do you think that it's a difficult context for design in this kind of abstract fields?
Not
Because you
sure
at least you
to
have a
understand.
museum that showcases your projects. I mean, that's already quite some.
Think think I can touch the people around me in the end. Um, and when I'm putting all these red lines, and I'm and with my like occupation, or with my job,
Mhm.
I'm going, I'm zooming in, but also showing people that they need to zoom out. And when I'm zooming out, like in this design research project, I'm trying to question and show the crowd different perspectives, then I'm not sure I answered your questions, but I'm trying to manage to succeed in what I do daily, like to put all this intention in my daily life, because there I can see the immediate reaction. And hope that something bigger will come and change from it, like the butterfly effect. I don't know, but
I'm sure. I mean, I think that you're being humble, but but no, it's true. I mean, I think that you're being humble. But of course, you cannot foresee what will happen, and you hope that somebody will take it from there. But don't you have like a little thing that says, let's push it a bit forward, so or it's just no. You're interested in now, and let's say I'm doing the research for now. I mean, come on. I just wonder. I don't know. Maybe you say no. I just do it for the interest of understanding the now.
maybe again. I mean, what I believe that the now is also the future. It's
Of course.
I don't have like a direct line of I want
Okay.
to reach there. No, I want to be in this committee that decides how to handle AI. I mean, I do want to influence that space to
Yeah.
be within, but I will not.
Yeah.
but I can take these ideas and just put them in every daily action I do. I managed to talk with people in the south of Israel, in this, let's say, very right wing city, and I teach them. And I have like a T-shirt of peace now, and we're against occupation, and I mean, it's there. I'm the clown. I can do whatever I want, and I'm a disruptor. And when I don't know. I'm trying to live it,
But then,
to live what I believe in.
but what do you mean that you're a disruptor? Or what is the position of a disruptor? So you do a sort of a performative act, as I understand, or it's living it. I understand it's not performative in terms of acting, but in terms of positioning and creating the scenario for it, or not?
It is a performative act. Whenever I come and teach other people, it's a performance. I'm not I'm not sitting there with my legs up, drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes, and just talking to them about what I believe. I mean, there are students. There is a certain things I need to show how secure I am in the system. um, in order to actually have them trust me. So I am always acting,
Performing.
performing, and doing so. I also put another layer on myself, another mask. Let's say, like, I'm a left wing. This is what I believe in. This is very important. You know why your city is like that? Because of the occupation. It's all related. You cannot disconnect it. I try to make them zoom out a bit, even in this, but because I'm performing, and then I get their attention, and they trust me. They love me, although I'm this crazy artist, left wing that is like completely. But I think it makes them think.
Yeah. I think that's very important, actually. I remember once I talked with, I don't know if you will know him, but it's a cook and he's very famous in Catalonia, and it's actually well known. He said that to define art, he said that art is what makes people think. And he said, like, whatever is not, it's very good technically, it's very good whatsoever, but art should be only what makes people think. So maybe you're an artist and not a design researcher.
Isn't it the same thing?
Yeah, that's labels that I do. I have none, so I think it's interesting. Going to another thing. So I asked you a bit about a reference outside our discipline, also to talk a bit, and you gave me the Space Odyssey. Apart from a little puppy that I will show later, but but why did you choose the Space Odyssey? I'm curious. I would never have said that
I
you would
don't.
choose that.
What was the question? I don't remember what was the question. That
A
like
visual
something that
that you like
a
outside
visual
our yeah
inspiration.
yeah
First of all, I love that movie. I think that like craft wise, it's a very beautiful film.
indeed.
And still, when I watch it now, I can't believe that actually Kubrick made it in the 60s. Just
Yeah, aesthetically, it's
and
crazy
so I
that
think
it's like that.
I so so aesthetically, it's something that is I think every time I watch it, very surprises me, and I put it there because of we just talked about. I mean, how
Yeah,
an action of a designer influence the whole culture without acknowledging that it will change, and this zoom out is I think very important, and that's why I put it there.
I think also it talks a
Um,
bit about the speculative part that you talked before. So I think that it's a good argument to say that it's a good reference for you. I mean, to be honest, it's been a long time that I haven't seen it, but would you say that it's a movie that I think it was in 1968 or 69, about to be 70, something like that? I mean, it's something that influenced you back then, or it's something that, as you said before, that you see afterwards, that it's something that, oh, no, now I like it, you know? No, not back then because you were born there, and we're just saying, like, when you were younger.
no, I
Like,
was born.
it sounded a
I
bit
was born
weird. Yeah, yeah, sorry. Yeah,
30 years after this
not like
movie.
me.
No, 30, 65, 67, 20 years. 20 years
Like me,
after
like
this movie
me.
came out. Um, I think, I don't know, I don't, I think that every time I watch it, I see something else
Huh.
that I'm triggered. And I think that now it connects very well to what bothers me.
Yeah.
Um,
At least for what we talked so far, it's quite has a
yes,
lot of
yes,
things. It's
yes, yes.
AI,
I think,
scariness. I mean, it has all of it. It's interesting. And
yes,
but then you
yes.
shared something else with me, which is an image, and I actually very like it. It sounds to me like a book I read a long time ago about that. It was called The Pattern Understanding, but I don't think that it's from that. So can you explain me what
I
is
think
that?
it's a book. It's a book that you would really like. It's called Bolo Bolo, and it's a speculative. Basically, it's a guidebook how to make the world better. And I think it was written in the 80s,
Okay.
and and it's very nice because first it tells what's wrong now, and then it says how we can rebuild our world to be more harmonic. And the images, I don't know which one. I think I put two images. One of them is you see the world which is divided differently. You see like smaller divisions of like the world map. Um, and I like it very much because the division of the world now is completely robbing our like ability to democratize like uh, our daily life and what we stand for and and I think it brings me back to the like political situation now in Israel, which is um, very difficult and something that is really bothers me these days, and I'm very pessimistic about what will happen right now. But but yeah, I mean, this is an option. We need to do that. So that's the world map, and now we divide it into smaller communities, and then the other image shows almost how this community would look like. So there are many designs, sketches even, and what I like it is that it looks like a cell, like a living cell, each one of them. One of the little images above, from there are many variations, and then I mean it's very clear. It's organic, as if it's all part of one major animal, and yeah, somehow it also comes back the story of the zoom in, zoom out.
Yeah, it is like that. You're trying to convince me of something here. Oh, but
I'm an AI. I chose this image and this video, and it all
do you
fits
imagine
like
that
gold.
this would all be prepared? It's like turning up to come to the beginning. It's like, no, no. But I
It's
think it makes
everywhere,
it.
you know.
No, but it makes it
I
very
could bring
coherent.
yin and yang and talk about it.
That's the whole problem. So you're like just like a narrative designer that just says things and then just comes back to it. No, to be honest, I think that it's very coherent. All what you said. That's very difficult to establish. To be honest, I'm not coherent at all, and that's why I'm doing these talks and you talk and not me. But in a sense, there was something that in this talk basically. Let's skip page of what it said. In this talk, basically, I've been talking with different people, and one of the things that I've been doing is asking the person that is invited to ask a question for the next one. And last person, I don't know if you know him, Andrea De Chirico. He studied only 1 year with us, and then after he did a second year.
Yes, I
Yeah, you know
remember.
him. Okay, so he was the last one, and he asked me. Actually, he was thinking that it would be Adiel because she could not be this week, but I think it works for you as well. He asked, what are two materials that you would really love to work? You don't have the opportunity, but you would actually make an effort to work with, and allow me to say that materials in your case, let's say, is in the broader spectrum of materiality. So it can be an abstract concept of Bruno Latour. What would you like to?
Well, I would like to work with political systems
Whoa.
as material.
And what else together with it?
Together with mud.
I like that. To be honest, I really would like also to work with political systems. I think that it's something very interesting. I think that it's a very shameful that a lot of people, especially younger generations, they think that they are apolitical when it's kind of like nonsense to me. And it's mainly because there's not a.
Anything is political.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, how can you be apolitical? Just like whatsoever. What would you say with that? With mud and political systems.
What would I say with that?
What would you like to talk about?
I don't know. I don't know. Let me work with the materials.
You throw a stone and then it's like, I don't know. It's weird.
But when I need to study a bit more.
I'm a design researcher.
Yes, I'm not a product designer.
It's part of a project. No, but I think it's interesting. Actually, part of like, as I told you before, part of my thesis is on sense making, on collective understanding. And one of the concepts that I'm more interested is something that maybe you have known, which is the wicked problems. I don't know if you know about it. But it's this concept that basically comes from urban planning and deals with an ability to solve a problem that is so big that it depends on how you look at it. It is defined differently, and therefore there's no only one solution and multiple options. And especially they are not easy understandable. So they are not complicated, but they're complex. So I think that working within mud, which is a very complex, actually also materiality, and with political systems, which is also we could talk about that. I'm in for that.
Yes,
Let's
yes.
go. I'm very in for
Let's totally let's do it. We just need budget. That's the problem.
that. Okay, so let's go for budgets. In your case, you said that you had the opportunity to work in a budget. How do you work in budgets outside your, let's say, daily practice? That how we would put budget into a project like politics, and how we find it really.
We will need to look for funds that have like the will to research these kind of materials and contact them and apply and wait and then receive a budget or not.
And is that
Or
something that you think it's let's say not good or bad, because that's what it is, let's say, but it's something that it's very
yeah,
common, let's say, for you to work in that way?
it is common and unfortunately it's just that I need don't have so much time because I'm choosing to spend a lot of time with my daughter and I really love it and it's really a choice. I can spend less time with her. Back to the zoom in, it's something that is for me like this is like a essence moment so
You're grounded.
so it's an okay system. I mean I don't see any other way right now because that's how the world works. But just that I would rather to have someone like maybe AI like proposing funding the funds for me and
No,
then
no.
I could apply faster.
I think that
I
applying
mean
faster would be a problem.
I also just like to sit and talk and think together and maybe get a nice idea. But this is maybe a beginning of a project or it's a beginning of like yeah, it's a starting point.
Yeah.
And yeah, oh.
We know. I know. There's only like two questions more that I have. One is like, because we talked a lot about you talk about collaborations and collaborating with institutions, collaborating with museums, with a lot of things. Is something that you need to activate this network, or is something that is there and you jump in, or it happens both ways? So how all these networks related to you as a design researcher, let's say, or are they?
Not really. Like I'm not so much invested in activating my networks. I meet people. I usually like. I mean, there are people I like to work with. There are people I like to like to that they work for me or
Yeah, collaborate.
collaborate with.
Yeah.
Yes, and in general, I really like to work flat, like in flat organizations. Also with like I really like teamwork, so that's why I kind of have the same kind of tables. And it's again a matter of time. If I had more time, I could do so much.
Yes. No, we all could definitely. I mean, time
I really
is
hate
value.
to like to my stuff on Instagram and do that. I don't do it for work. I do it because it makes me like it makes me laugh, or I'm not so good at let's say selling my
No, but you
work,
don't.
and
I mean, you don't. I didn't mean to sell, which is an option also. But sometimes there's people that are designers and they activate networks just because they push to it. I mean,
yes,
there's different ways to do it, and of course, there's one But now that you're talking to Instagram, and I think it's clear what you said. Let me share to everybody the last.
I don't see what you're showing, so I hope it's not
Yeah, it's the dog.
embarrassing.
It's a little dog jumping. I think that I think that, I mean, to be honest, and that's on a personal level. I mean, we always laughed a lot when we work together. When we are together, I think that you're a smiley person. Is that, and this dog as a reference that you sent me, it was clearly meant for me to laugh at it. I think that it's a smile. Do you think that that is important, also part of smiling, laughing?
It's the most important. Really, I think that we need to love what we're doing and have it nicely. And I think it's also related to the fact of how I like to work. That I like to work flat, and there is something very very nice about it because it's a way of being.
Yeah.
And and also when you asked me what is what was the question, what is a video that I cannot stop watching.
Yeah.
So I mean, you cannot stop watching it. It's just
To be able to, I'm just to share the information with you. I'm just completely putting it online. It's not going to stop till the end of the presentation so far. For me, I really like it also, so that's fine for me. I cannot stop watching it for now. There's only the last question that I wanted to do. It was basically as there was a question for you by Andrea. If you could send the question to the next person that is involved with it. Doesn't have to be anything specific to a person. It has to do with you as a designer. For you to know, let me check who is the next one. I'm not sure right now, but either it's Dino, Lorenzo, or Aliel. I'm not sure, but it doesn't really make a difference.
I think no, it doesn't. I think I would ask, could you tell about a moment that you had to put like a red line to maybe to a customer or to any stakeholder in a project that you were engaged in?
Interesting, because you just said that you had. So I think that I think it's a very nice question. Actually, it talks a lot about the intention, values, and a lot of things. Actually. Yeah. Did I have to? Yeah, well, I'm full of red light. Okay.
I'm a service designer. I know how to ask questions.
Yes, you know how to ask questions, definitely. It's almost for me. I don't know if you have any question actually. Now that you know how to ask questions, because I will finish reading something that you wrote, but I just want to finish with that.
No, well, I'm empty.
You're empty. That's good.
In a good way, I'm empty. It's I think I had a wonderful experience. I was very excited that I didn't speak like my professional English. I didn't use it for so long, and I was so afraid that I would be like, oh, what is this word? And I was like, what am I talking about? And really enjoy the conversation, and more is that maybe we can do a project about politics and mud in the
I'm
future.
really
So
into
really,
it. To be honest, I'm really into it. I do think that it's. I mean, the math part, it's going to be more difficult for me, but I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, now I don't know if you, but I know, of course you don't know, but this weekend we have the how do you call it, like the elections of the mayor of Barcelona, and also the mayors of all towns of Spain and cities and so on. And I am the president of the I don't know the table that they come to vote. I'm the person that has to be there. That it's like and I'm like, oh gosh, I hate politics. But yeah.
Yeah.
I hate the process. I mean, it's a process that could be done like by kind of a super other systems, but I mean, for one side, I like the idea that you have to go to boat. It's like a kind of a ritualistic thing that engages collectively, and the day you see all the
Yes.
people going to the place, so it's like a little moment where a lot of people. But it's also true that it, at least here in Barcelona or from my side, it is very gentrified. Also the situation. So sometimes I feel like we are still voting for a city of 4,000, but it's
Yeah, yeah.
okay. So
I hear you. I feel the same.
I will just read something that you wrote, which I think that it's almost poetical. Which is, I ask
Where
you,
did I
what
write
is your
it? Where?
favorite meal? And instead, like people generally answer something, and then you're like, it's hard. Winter, onion soup with bread. Summer, grilled fish with salad. When I'm cozy, the simplest linguine with tomato sauce and parmigiano. When I'm feeling active, a scrambled egg with some bread, cucumber, and tomato. When I feel at ease, some fresh bread to dip in olive oil and a squeezed tomato and salt with some fresh herbs from the garden. Are you kidding me? It's beautiful. It's like you were talking about the now, and this is the more now. It's like perfect. No, food is not important. No, but I have a food for this and a food for that, and it's like no, it's not important. Huh? I mean, it's not important.
I love food. Food is life. Food is everything. It is true. That's why it's not a one. It's not about the meal. It's about what you crave, what will comfort, what will fill up your hole right now. And sometimes you don't need much. You just need something soft in your mouth, and then a good company and a glass of wine. And sometimes you need something that will warm the stomach and almost give you a pet, and something you just need to really to put in something quickly and run. So you need to be light.
I agree. No, I agree. I think that food has all these points, and I think that to be honest with you, I never tried the. I mean, I of course tried, but the onion soup in winter is not my thing. But all the rest, I almost fully agree with you. Also, especially because you made like fresh bread in deep in oil and a squeezed tomato, which is basically pan tumacat, which is the most Catalan thing ever existed in the world. So, so I hope that just to finish, and I just thank you. Thank you for having this hour with me. It's been nice. I miss you. And
Thank you. Me too. I really loved it.
yes,
I really enjoyed the conversation.
and let's see if next time we
Let's
can
do
actually have some fresh bread together. Otherwise, design a political system whenever you want.
hopefully very soon, both.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Thank you, and I'll continue talking with her. I will say goodbye to you in a second. But this is for today. And next week we will have, as I said,